And major news in the Murdaugh family murder story, what a judge ordered Alex Murdaugh to do today and why. Embattled South Carolina lawyer Alex Murdaugh was denied bond today. Prosecutors allege that the 53-year-old misappropriated portions of a $3.4 million settlement from his former maid that were meant for his late housekeeper's children. He allegedly told his maid, Gloria Satterfield's family, that they would be financially taken care of after she died of a supposed slip and fall accident. This was before he allegedly conspired with another attorney to, quote, deprive the Satterfield family of insurance settlements owed to them by converting that money to Mr. Murdaugh's own use. Attorneys for the Satterfields say today was a good day for justice.
It's got some taste of justice today, so, you know, thank you, Judge Newman. We would have accepted the ruling of the court no matter what it was, but I really feel like the court appreciated the weight and gravity of this situation. It was important to demonstrate that influence and power does not create a second tier of justice in this state, and I think that weighed heavily on the decision to withhold bond in this case.
Murdaugh, whose wife and son were killed in an unsolved slaying this summer, was arrested last week on 2 felony counts of obtaining property by false pretenses. He was ordered by the judge at the Richland County Courthouse in Columbia to undergo a psychiatric evaluation before his release could be up for consideration. Matt Harris, a friend of The Edge and co-host of the Matt and Ramona Show on Mix 107.9, is also co-host of the wildly popular podcast, The Murdaugh-Family-Murders: Impact of Influence. Matt talked with us today about why the judge ordered that psych evaluation and what that could mean for the trial going forward.
It lessens the charge, it lessens the amount of time. It's a very fine line, I guess, in the legal world, but there has to be a criminal intent, and if they can prove there wasn't, it's going to help Murdaugh.
Here's your panel tonight. WCCB News at 10 anchor Drew-Bollea and WCCB News-Edge contributor QCB. Drew, you have been covering this today, updating our viewers on this latest news. What else can you add to this?
Well, the interesting part here is the psych evaluation, because 2 things could happen. One, the psych evaluation could go in favor of Murdaugh, where he would be able to be released on bond potentially. That would be the play that his attorneys would make. But that might also, you know, spell some trouble for him down the road if he were to go to trial for other cases. And then on the flip side of that, he could not pass a psych evaluation of sorts. Therefore, he wouldn't be released on bond, but that might actually help him down the road in further litigation. So this could go a lot of different ways. The other thing that we learned today and that Matt Harris was talking about is this is far from over. This is just the very, very beginning, and there is a lot of different things that are being investigated. There are 5 different death investigations that are being looked into in connection to the Murdaugh family and Alex Murdaugh. And then there's also some other misappropriations of funds that are being looked into by not only his law firm, but some other people who have come forward as well. So there are a lot of, as Matt Harris put it, tentacles to this story.
So what I wanted to ask you about for further clarification, if he fails a psych evaluation, if they determine he is not mentally fit, would that mean that he could not get bond or that he could get bond? Because you could argue if he is mentally fit, then he could make the plans to be a flight risk.
Right. So if he is a danger to himself, if he is considered to be a danger to himself or others, then bond could still be denied, meaning he would have to remain in jail while the court proceedings played out. So that would be a negative if you're Alex Murdaugh, right, having to sit in jail while this is all taking place. But it could eventually help him down the road when it comes to trial time, because they could use that as part of his defense, saying that he was an addict, he had a mental disability, and that is what led to the crimes taking place and not criminal intent.
Okay. Q, this is something that, you know, this is one of those stories that everybody's watching, everybody's talking about how they're going to turn this into a, you know, a documentary, 2020 down the road. I thought it was interesting when Ronnie Richter said today that the denial of bond was important to demonstrate that influence and power does not create a second tier of justice in the state, when really that is the nut of this whole problem. This whole case, this whole story is the Murdaugh family and how much influence they've had in the justice system in South Carolina for decades.
Well, I definitely agree with that. I could definitely see this being like a Netflix documentary. And they have such a strong name in that community, I could see it swaying in his favor. But mental illness is real, and we all know that. I don't want him to, use this mental illness evaluation to try to, lessen his sentence, which hopefully that will not happen. But you absolutely hitting the nail on the head with that statement. But I don't like when people try to hide behind their mental illness. Put them in prison and then have the person to come and evaluate them in prison after they get their sentence.
Morgan, to your point that you were making there as well, Matt Harris was speaking today about how he hopes that this sort of brings a huge spotlight onto the entire criminal justice system, all the way from how judges are appointed to who the lawyers and elected officials are in the state of South Carolina, and how everything is sort of intertwined within that legal system. And he wants there to be a large spotlight and people to start asking some serious questions about how, where is the oversight when things like this happen?
Right. Yeah. It's going to be fascinating to watch this one continue.
Yeah.
All right, on to our next topic. You're going to have to wait until next year for the return of Ozark, Netflix's Emmy-winning crime drama starring Jason Bateman and Laura Linney. Netflix released the trailer for the show's final bow, revealing that part 1, there are going to be 2, part 1 of season 4 will premiere on January 21st. The final season's 2 parts will be comprised of 7 episodes each. Season 3, as you may remember, a long time ago, dropped way back in March 2020. So it's going to be a supersized final season, Q, and I think it's going to be fantastic. But man, they're making us wait.
Well, Netflix is always, they're the ultimate teaser. Like, this is like my prom night all over again, getting teased like this. But I'm just saying, when it comes to Netflix and these great shows, and we know Ozark is the show that stays straight with the good writing. It didn't go left like other shows on Netflix and you jumped off the train. No, I stayed on the train. I'm standing in the Netflix car. I think it's going to be an amazing ending we got coming up.
I know. And now that we know, Drew, that it's going to be 14 total episodes, it makes it more understandable why it's taken so long. But sheesh.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big Jason Bateman fan. People say I kind of look like him, and I get that bit. But I have not seen Ozark at all. I've been told to get into it. So, Q, should I, you're kind of my guru for these sort of things. Should I get into Ozark?
Yes.
Should I start it?
Yes.
Right.
Tonight.
I have from now until January 21st to kind of play catch up, right?
It's so good.
Dude, do it now. You doing a 10 o'clock the
I'll be
news?
back.
Yeah.
Go home tonight, Drew, and start watching.